most of us are using AI, about 3% of the power of AI. The biggest elephant in the room is AI. AI is trampling everything. That's just one of my So my first advice to everybody out there is spend 80% of your time figuring out who you want to work with. The hard part is to know when to stop, fully take, and to move on to something else.
We are talking with a very important author. He's a Silicon Valley investor, worked with a lot of innovative founders. He wrote all those stories into several best-selling books like Make Elephants Fly, Surviving a Startup, Five Forces, etc. He's Steve Hoffman. We call him Captain Hoff. So we will talk with Captain Hoff about the stories behind writing all those books and also how we can leverage the ideas for those who want to create something new in the age of AI. I do believe the concept of making elephants fly exactly works in current days. Whether you have any kinds of bold ideas, we'll let you know how to make those ideas working. From the idea, make MVPs, to marketing growth, as well as building the right team. So please definitely join us for this great conversation.
Can you elaborate what brings you to this journey as an author and a founder? What happened before that?
Well, I went through so many different careers. So, just the other day, I gave a talk at the Gen AI conference, the big AI conference in Silicon Valley. And a young 15-year-old came up to me afterwards and she was like, what should I do with my life? What should I do? I don't know what to major in college. I'm like, you're only 15. I changed my career so many times. I had no idea I would wind up doing what I'm doing today when I was 15, let alone when I was 25 or even 35. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I think that's one of the beauties of life. I think if you are a true lifelong learner, you want to learn new things. So that means you're going to always be attracted to new things, new places to go. And each one of those things creates new opportunities for you, opportunities you didn't expect and you couldn't possibly have foreseen. And it creates a new self. Because like every time I launched into a new career, which I've had too many, I think I've had well over like a dozen different careers in my lifetime. You have to reinvent yourself. So when I was young, when I was a boy, I dreamed first of all, I dreamed of being two things, like not just one, but I wanted to be two things. I wanted to be a filmmaker and I made over 50 movies. By the time I graduated high school, over 50 different films. I also wanted to be a game maker. I was really so passionate about making games. I made literally hundreds of different games, like
Wow.
all types of role-playing games, board games, you name it, I made it. So all these games, computer games, I coded my own games. So that's what I thought I wanted to do. Then my father came to me. My father, he is really smart, like smarter than I am, much, much smarter than I am. He is an engineer. He went to MIT at 16 years old, studied rocket science, actually ended up becoming a professor at MIT and teaching the early astronauts. And he came to me when I was young. And at this time, computers weren't like they are today. We didn't have smartphones. It was the early days of Apple computing and all this stuff. He came to me and he said, son, the future of the world is computers. Study computers. So I went and studied electrical computer engineering. I was good at it because I was really good at math and science. I aced my courses, but I wasn't in love with it. It wasn't me. It wasn't who I am. Like I didn't want to sit behind a computer coding all day. I didn't want to be building circuits or circuit boards and all this stuff. So I got a great job offers from Silicon Valley, and I decided, no, I'm not going to take any of these offers. I am going to film school. I did the engineering. I did what my father wanted. I am now going to film school. So I truncated my engineering career right at the beginning. And then I went to film school. I got into USC, which has a fantastic film school in Los Angeles. And it was an eye opener, like, because I've been making films ever since I was really young. And now I got to make more films in a semi-professional environment. And then I didn't know what to do. Like, I graduated, I got my master's degree in film and television, but they don't offer you a job just for getting a degree in film and television. No, no, they don't say, oh, you can direct this movie, And I go, you know what I'm going to do? I got the names and addresses, every one of the top film producers in Hollywood, film and television producers. And I literally wrote each of them a personal letter. So I wrote 150 of these letters to try to figure out my, get a job in Hollywood. And, I was like, I graduated film school. I'm so passionate about making movies, hire me. And you know what happened of 150? I got 3 responses. People.
Oh my God.
And I get a 3rd call. I laughed out of my 150 letters. So, oh my God, this has to work. And they invite me in and they said, we want you to meet Chuck Freeze. And Chuck Freeze is a famous TV and movie producer in Hollywood. And a week later, I get a call from his assistant and said, you're hired. I'm like, I made it. I broke into Hollywood.
Wow. That's amazing.
What job they gave me?
I know.
They gave me the job of a reader. And a reader sounds good because what you do is you read film scripts, right? You read movie scripts. And then you write up a synopsis, an overview of the scripts. And then you give them to the producers in the company to decide if they want to read the scripts. So literally, you are a human filter. That's all you are. You're a human filter. And it's a very painful job. It's a whole, because 99% of these scripts that they receive are god awful. Like, 1 out of 100 is good. You're so thankful. And I scheduled another meeting with the Chuck, the head of the company. And I get a meeting with him. And I come into his office and I go, Chuck, I need to talk to you, and he's like, Hoffman, what is it? It's only been 2 weeks. And I go, Chuck, I can do more than read scripts. I can do more. I'm a creative guy. I go away, go back to reading. And a week later, I get a call. And it's from one of his sons who he hired, because of course his sons, everybody in Hollywood hires their kids, nepotism, hired his son. And his son was, like in his maybe late 30s or early 40s. And he was a scary man. Even in the 2 weeks I'd been there, he was an unhappy guy. So he gives me a project and he says, write up this outline, a synopsis for a mini series on the Oregon Trail, the movement westward of the pioneers, and based on this book, Francis Parkman. I'm like, okay. And I finish it, I give it to him, and I'm terrified, right? This guy is never happy. He's a bitter man. And he invites me back into his office, looks at me and goes, that was really good. You did a really good job. Oh, thank you. So basically, within a couple months, I am the head of production. I am promoted to the head of production. Yeah. So then all the readers came to me. So that was one career. After I did all these companies and different, tried all these different things, I ended up opening Founder Space, which is what I do right now. And basically, we're a venture builder. So we work with young entrepreneurs all over the world.
Exactly. I think this part of the conversation will make sure that's delivered to a lot of people because it's really inspiring. And let's talk a little bit about the book Make Elephants Fly. This book is published, I think, in 2017. A lot of those cases are about the internet startups. But when I looked back to those stories, especially in the AI area, the elephants is even huger. It's like because you have to make a even bigger change. Can you elaborate a little bit? What do you mean by elephant, and what do you think are the elephants in the age of AI?
So there's different types of elephants. There is your psychological elephant, and that is your dream, right? But an elephant seems impossible to get off the ground, right? Your dreams often seem like, I can't do this, right? It's just, I can't do it, right? I can't quit my job. You'll have a million reasons why you can't do it, right? I'm not capable enough. I don't know the right people. But You want to get that elephant to fly. You want to get that impossible thing off the ground. The other elephants are these societal changes that we go through, right? These waves of innovation. And you can ride that elephant. You can literally ride that elephant all the way to your dream. So right now, we've had many elephants in the past. We had the internet, right? I was there at the beginning of the internet. Right now, the biggest elephant in the room is AI. AI is trampling everything, like literally remaking every business on the planet. And if you want to do something today innovative, if you want to think of a startup, or even in your career, like if you're a career person, doesn't matter if you work for a big corporation, you had better figuring out artificial intelligence. So I work now with the entrepreneurs on the ground floor, like developing this technology. I also work with the top executives at global corporations around the world, like Volkswagen's, Siemens, PwC, Lenovo, Alibaba, all these top executives, right, at these companies. And they also have to educate themselves, because even though you're a top executive at one of the world's biggest companies, it could be a traditional company, like a car company. If you don't understand AI, you and your business are just going to be left in the past. It's like every elephant we have seen in the past combined into a mega elephant. And mega, it's not, we had elephants come our way. We had mobile internet, right? That was huge, right? We had virtual reality and augmented reality. We have blockchain, right? But those are still pretty narrow. Like blockchain is really good at cryptocurrency, but not that good at most other things businesses need. Virtual reality, still an elephant in the coming, right? It hasn't quite got here yet. Like it came, but it wasn't as big as we thought. Like it was a baby elephant or a dwarf elephant. But it could be big later on. But AI is so powerful because it literally everything we do in our life, every application on our phone, every website we visit, every service we use, every product we buy, each one of these is an open door for an entrepreneur to step through and actually create a new company. And it might be a world-changing company, like not even it could be a small business or a medium business, but many of these, as we can already see, are totally transforming all of our lives and everything we do. So if you're an entrepreneur now, there has never been a better time. Never been a better time. And the only thing holding you back is you, not even your idea. I wrote my second book, Surviving a Startup, which is all about everything I learned being an entrepreneur and working with, hundreds of entrepreneurs around the world. And I will tell you, most entrepreneurs and most people are their own worst roadblocks. It's not the things that are keeping them back, right? It's not like my boss is holding me back, but in the end, they may be at a disadvantage. But the biggest disadvantage is themselves, is me, right? We hold ourselves back by telling ourselves these other things are holding us back. So you need to say, every time you hear yourself saying that, you need to say, absolutely not. I could do this. I can do it today. And my first advice to entrepreneurs and anybody is, if you want to succeed, surround yourself with the most capable, smartest people you can possibly imagine. Working with them, learning from them, you will learn yourself what to do next. And same with entrepreneurs. Like if you're an entrepreneur and you want to be successful, I say, don't worry about your idea. Your idea is garbage. Like most ideas that entrepreneurs have at the beginning, they don't even work. Like they don't work. 99% of them fail, right? They have to change their idea to be a success. Number two, don't worry about building something. Don't worry about that. You can build something later. Don't worry about raising capital. That's the last thing you should be doing. That's like worrying about money. Worry about one thing. Who am I going to surround myself with? And you may not even have the idea, but you need to go out and find the people you want to work with. So my first advice to everybody out there is spend 80% of your time figuring out who you want to work with. And then vaguely doesn't have to be defined, where do you want to make a change in this world? Like what type of change do you want to make? And then together with those amazing people, you figure it out. That is the way to become a successful entrepreneur. It's not to do what most people do, which is, trying to think forever of a new idea, try to start building something, those usually work because the people already came together, right? The people came together. So And that's when those things work. But before you have the right people to work with, you can't do everything yourself. Like it's really, really, really fortunate. The most of you are very, very good at one thing, right? And very few people are somebody who can be good at everything. There are these people out there who totally astound us, right? Who are literally, polymaths and do like they can do just like anything. But most of humanity is very fortunate to be even good, let alone great at one thing. Like through these, everybody combines, and that's when the magic starts. That's when you can then have the power to jump on this elephant that is charging past and actually stay on the ride and start and make the impossible happen, make it fly.
That's really inspiring. And I got two main takeaways, especially related to what we are building. The first is the twin you have mentioned, the several elephants. We are exactly sad because for example, the entire team, we have realized the biggest elephants in today's world is AI. And also we believe education will be significant different from traditional area. So we believe what we learn in the in Aibrary platform, we have three layers. First is the self. Second is wealth. Third is action. You have to first understand who you are. You have your psychology and your mind health. At the same time, you have to understand the world. What is the big change? The social change, the technology change, as well as not only you should know about those things, you have to make action, you have to form teams, you have to form good habits. So all exactly in line with what you have mentioned.
Literally, we are teaching students the same way in our schools today, whether it's China, the United States, or anywhere around the world. For the most part, unless you go to a very special school, we are teaching people the same way we taught them literally during the Industrial Revolution. And teaching was designed at that time to literally mass educate people. What we've learned is that all of our brains are very, very different. All of us are interested in very different things, right? That excites our imagination, that stimulates our mind to actually absorb the information. AI allows you to tailor education right down to the individual. So even individuals who have learning disabilities, like I have severe learning disability, like I was dyslexic, which meant
Oh, really?
School was a struggle for me. Like I couldn't learn to read. I was terrible at all this stuff. Really, really hard for me. But like if I went to school, AI holds the promise, literally looking at your brain, diagnosing you, right, where your deficiencies are, and then because it's going to gather data from millions and millions of people, right, optimizing the best way for you to learn with your brain chemistry, with your cognitive abilities, and then matching those to your interests, the areas that you're so excited about that you actually want to learn. Because we can learn math and reading many different ways, right? Why read books that aren't interesting to us, right? Why not allow students to choose the books and discuss the books that are the most interesting to them? And if I'm not a reader, right, if I have so much trouble learning to read that way, you can learn through dialogue, like Socratic dialogues, audiobooks, all these other ways. Well, I adapted my way of learning. So I'm a slow reader, but I'm super fast at audio. So I can listen to any book at double speed. So I could literally be jogging and listening to a book at double speed and absorb all the information. So like I am constantly listening to books, whether I'm on a plane, I'm on a train, I'm in the car, but I figured that out. AI will be able to figure this out for us, right? It will literally be able to figure out ways that we can learn that we never thought possible and actually present those to us in a very interactive format. I think you're on the frontier of that. Like there's so much more your company can do in this direction to accelerate and personalize the way people learn. And we won't need to go to universities in the future because universities will literally be at our fingertips, like all the best knowledge, all the best people. It's already at our fingertips. Like literally go on, Chat GPT or DeepSeek, and you could teach yourself anything because it's composited all the learning from all the world. It just takes initiative.
Yes, exactly. The things you have mentioned, I didn't know that you have difficulties in reading because you are a famous writer. We thought that you must be very good at reading, writing, etc.
And I trained myself to be a writer. Like I literally worked at it. I had to work my butt off to actually, catch up. because I was so far behind.
Yes, exactly. And also, this also reminds me another part in your book that you mentioned. It's not about technology itself. You listed a lot of uh, examples like Uber, etc. They're not necessarily building technologically like big moves, but they really understand the real problem. And especially in the AI, in the first 2 years, 1 or 2 years when GPT or those AI technology was out, everyone is talking about you have to make big moves. I do believe the most important thing is not the technology itself, but really how to apply AI to real life scenarios, real life problems.
So in the age of AI, unless you're a core AI company, but even then they're all just pretty much the same, how to apply this technology to real world problems. So the second most important thing when you're an entrepreneur is you get the team together, right? You figure out we all want to go this direction, right? We're really interested in this industry. Could be, we're interested in healthcare, right? We're interested in sustainable fishing. We are all going to go in this direction. Where can we apply AI? And when I look at entrepreneurs, and I talk to entrepreneurs almost every day, right? What I'm looking, especially at an early stage, to invest in them is not their technology, because they're all pretty, especially in AI, they're all using the same platform. Where you could take AI and create an enormous amount of value. I call this extreme value. So first you get the team, then the team goes on a mission of discovery, a mission of learning. It's a learning mission. That's why teaching yourself, constantly learning, it ends up making you, whether you're an independent entrepreneur or you're being entrepreneurial within a large corporation, or, it doesn't matter. And it is a process of learning. And the way you get to the answer faster, the iterative learning cycle, there is a super high demand for this, meaning that I will actually have a business that can grow, right? The problem I just figured out, you have to be able to, when at the early stage, figure out, okay, if I solve this problem, people won't go, oh, that's really nice. That's really clever. What they have to say is, oh my God, you built this? I got to try it. I have to have it. How can I get it? What can I do? This is amazing. I need this now. People saying that, you have something. And so it's going through that learning cycle, like getting to that point. And that's not going to be easy for most people. That is the second hardest part after finding amazing people. But if you get these two things right, boom, you have a company. If I had to summarize everything I know about entrepreneurship in those two steps, that would be it. Of course, there's a lot more, but those are the two most important steps.
This is also exactly the reason, what I said to you the other day in WeChat, that you inspired me a lot in building a startup. This is exactly one of the most inspiring part, because exactly in the first several months or in the beginning of building this startup, even though we have funded different projects in our life, we used to work in large corporations, in TikTok, in higher education groups, in those huge companies. We had a mindset. If we want to do something, it had to be like boom in the first place. It had to be perfect in the first place. But building startup is not that way. We realized that. So that's why when we start this new startup, we decided we have to do experiments, just as you mentioned. We have to identify the real problem and make the MVP available to the audience as soon as possible. And they then do a lot of user interviews, get feedbacks, make sure that really your minimum viable product can solve the exact pain points of the users, and then you have more time to refine, and maybe in the past months we have tried different roles. There are some works, there are some not working. So finally, we find some ways that better, but not still. I think it's not perfect, but we will continue to do those experiments.
That is great, and that brings me to the third hardest thing about being an entrepreneur, and the third step that everybody absolutely needs to learn, and that is when to kill your baby. Like the baby, like you invest your emotions, your feelings, your time, your money in what should be an experiment, but often becomes a project. The hard part is to know when to stop, fully take, and to move on to something else. When to kill that project that you have invested 6 months or a year into doing that you thought would succeed. And, it's coming along. but it isn't quite there, and often entrepreneurs will feel like Sisyphus, the Greek mythology. He rolled the boulder up the hill and it rolls back down. And they just like, how many times do I have to do this? Like, so I tell entrepreneurs, like they come to me a lot, entrepreneurs, and they will say, Captain Hoff, Captain, you know, should I continue with this idea? Like, if this thing isn't great, ideas take off very fast when you get them right. You don't have to be Sisyphus pushing that boulder up the hill. This happened, and it's not just junior people who make this mistake, right? Everybody needs to recheck themselves. Mark Zuckerberg, guy, right? Incredibly ambitious. He launched Facebook. He acquired Instagram. He acquired WhatsApp. The largest. He's built this incredible business. He is also self-delusional like all of us because, along comes Oculus, right? The most incredible, I saw it early on. I was completely mesmerized, by the technology. But you know what happened? They put these virtual reality headsets out there and not much happened. Not much happened because most people didn't care. It didn't solve a big problem for them that the market has told them they don't really care about. Now, does this mean they'll never care about it? No, there'll be a point where it actually could work, right? And probably will work. But he's an experienced, he should have known at first sight, okay, I got to wait a few years, right? This stuff isn't ready. I might have spent $3 billion to acquire this company and spent billions and billions more, trying to improve it. But, if the market isn't there, it isn't there. So you can't make a market. This is one of my fundamental rules. Like, you cannot, no matter how creative, no matter how imaginative, it won't make the difference. So it doesn't matter if you're a billionaire like Mark Zuckerberg and genius. You can trick yourself. And this is where each of us, and you and your company, all of us have to keep innovating, keep trying, keep killing our babies, keep replenishing our team like the brains, and keep going until we hit that big thing.
Exactly. Sometimes you have to make tough choices about the even though it's tough, but I think it's definitely in the long term will benefit a lot for the startup. And also, I really like the idea that even though we are dream big, you have an elephant that is big dreams, but still, when it comes to product, I real like you mentioned that products should have simplicity, create emotions, and form the habits. Those are exactly like what we want to follow in our product, because our product is for life learning. We hope that people can spend like 10 to 20 minutes every day, form the habit, and the content should be very simple, cut a lot of things.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. You know exactly what you need to do. You need to challenge yourself in this way, especially in the time of AI, right? So now we have these incredible new tools, powerful tools coming onto the market. How can you apply them to all the problems in your business, all the problems for your customers, right? How can you take this technology and do that? And you do it, and how can you move quickly, right? And figure out where that one thing, you don't need a lot of hits, right? You don't need to do a lot of things well. Like as a business, this is the next lesson, right? In my business lesson, you don't need to do a lot of things well. You just need to do one thing extremely. One thing, most companies win, especially in the early stages, by doing one thing, providing value in one narrow area extremely well. So much better than the competition that everybody comes to them. So you don't want to do anything pretty good. You just want to do one thing so well that the world cannot ignore it.
Exactly. And all those comes to the maybe one of the most important parts is the team you have mentioned to make it happen. Yeah. I think you have made a lot of points about what constitutes a great team for startups. But in the age of AI, what do you think are the most important qualities for team leadership and how to foster the innovation, especially with all the AI tools for the team members? Things are changing. For example, for us, when we build a team, we hope that our team is small, as what you have mentioned in the book, and we have to work with AI, use AI to
AI can increase your productivity dramatically. The gains are enormous, especially with small entrepreneurial teams. even in big corporations, I mean, it's enormous the amount of productivity gains AI can deliver now. Most people don't know how to use it effectively. They're not using it enough. I would say most of us, whether we're working for a company or we have our own business, most of us are using AI about 3% of the power of AI out there. We could be, there's like 97% more that AI could do for us that we aren't leveraging. So literally every process in your business, everything your team members do on a daily basis, you need to be looking at what they're doing right now, right? How can AI enhance that? How can AI? Don't look at, oh, we have AI and it has this incredible capability that I read about. Now, how can we take that capability and use it in our business? That's the backwards way, right? Oh, there's this great new feature from AI. How can I use that great new feature in our business? Don't look at that. That's what you shouldn't be doing. Instead, you need to be looking at what do my team spend most of their time doing, or most of their brain power and time doing? How can I take AI and actually enhance what they're already doing, right? To make them much more productive, much higher quality work than they're doing. And I can give you an example. So just myself. So I get invited to a lot of big companies to work with their upper and help them reinvent their company with AI, right? So it's this exact question. And it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or a high-level executive in a global corporation. So one big company that invited me in recently was Volkswagen, right? They make Porsche cars, they make Volkswagen. They're like, they were, you know, they're one of the number one automakers in the world. They were the dominant automaker in all of China, right? So number one until recently, right? Where Chinese EVs have just like shot past them. So their market share is declining and they like know they need to catch up. So they invite me in to work with their senior management in China on how can they take AI and transform their business. And I know a lot about AI, so I can help them with that. But what I don't know a lot about is the automotive industry. I haven't spent they are the executives. They spent their whole life in this industry, right? They know it 100 times better than I do. How can I get up to speed on the automotive industry? Like, I need to know this. And I pose that question. And then Google says, okay, come back later, and the AI will have an answer. So I come back, and it takes a couple days, actually. But in a couple days, I come back, and it has literally generated a 50-page research report. And then, because I don't like to read, I already told you, I just converted it into an audio book, right? Like I have an AI application that will convert any PDF. They allow you to download all this research as a PDF into it, so I could listen to the whole thing. So I listened to the whole thing, and I go, that's good, but I have more questions. I want to know more. So then I go to Google has this new product called Notebook LM, right? And Notebook LM literally allowed me to upload this research paper, but then also upload all the websites, like Xiaomi's site about their new Shoe 7 and Su 7, upload all the other Chinese EV companies' websites, point to Volkswagen's websites, point to all these other sources, videos online. Literally, I am now leveraging AI so that I have two experts, right, from the industry and me, and we can have a three-way conversation. Just two of them happen to be AI. And so what I'm telling you is whether you are working for a corporation, whether you have your own startup, like your learning company or any of your audiences, whatever company they're doing, you got to use these tools on a daily basis. Like not, you got to use these tools every time you have a question, every time, I literally walk around now with like ChatGPT and Google Gemini and Claude and DeepSeek all on my phone, all of them. And I will literally be talking to them like all day long because I'm always curious about something, right? And like every time a question comes up, I just like literally open to talking to them and they'll give me the answer. Like it doesn't matter if it's about politics or the economy or some new AI feature that somebody mentioned. And I was like, oh, what is that feature? Because even I can't keep up with all the AI stuff. Like, and it will literally, or my toilet is broken. Like I used it, my toilet was just broken. And I was like, how do I fix this toilet? I took a picture of the toilet. And if you're going in for a job interview or you literally have you're meeting, you're trying to sell your product to a client, like you need to know about their company, right? I just gave you the ticket. Like you'll get that job if you do what I said. Like it will tell you everything about the company. You'll be more knowledgeable than people who actually work in the company about the company if you like use these tools. Or you go to sell your product to somebody and you want to know about their business, boom, you just use these tools. And that's one example. I haven't given you, there's millions of examples of how to use AI. But when we're to answer your question, start there.
Exactly. So just in the beginning of this show, not only keep learning, you keep using innovative ways to keep learning. So this is really a demonstration of growth mindset.
I wish your company existed when I was young, right? When I was, I would be like, I would have been like all over it, anything you can, every penny you invest in accelerating your learning is going to pay off tenfold, 100-fold in the future, in your future. So there is, if there's a service out there that works, I just tell your audience, whatever it is, use it. It doesn't matter if it costs money, right? That money is a drop in the bucket compared to the value you're going to gain.
How do you make that happen? Because people are really busy, like especially entrepreneurs. What suggestion do you have for them to keep learning from books?
This is where I took my disability and turned it into an advantage. And I trained my brain to listen at double speed. Like I listen to any book at double speed, and I didn't used to. I started at single speed. I moved up to 1.25, 1.5. Now I'm at double speed. Sometimes I'll go even higher, but and sometimes I'll go lower if it's a fast talker. So I'm never narrating a book, but I'll listen. I do it because I'm super busy, right? I do it every day when I'm exercising. I exercise every day. I'm like an exercise fanatic, but that's just one of my learning tricks. It's a bizarre thing. Yeah. I don't know other people do it that way, but it works for me. And
a lot of people do that way, but that's really interesting. And what's so fascinating that the way we build our product exactly make the whole process you have gone through into a very simplistic way.
Short lectures people can go into and out of very quickly. Yeah. I think with most people, like I said, the short sprint and the walk, I think most of us can't concentrate super intensely for a super long period of time. We need to breaks, right?
Yeah.
So that natural cognitive process that all of us have, different people are different, but I think for most of us, we need that break to absorb the information. We learn better in sprint.
So looking forward,
right? We learn better in a sprint session than a marathon. Actually studied learning a lot and how to learn better. I've read many, many, many books on it, and it's like taking breaks is as important as like for around 20 minutes for most people, 20 to 30 minutes. Then you absolutely need to take a break and do something totally different and then come back to it. Because in that break, your brain is actually processing all that information. So all of us should be learning. And now it's too, like doing 30 seconds isn't that productive, right? That's more distracting. That's more people jumping from task to task.
Very intense information. We're coming to the last part. Moving forward, I think you in the recent years, especially after AI came, you have a lot of new cases, new ideas. What's your next book?
So I am writing I'm writing a couple books right now because I'm always trying to do too many things. I don't even take my own advice. Focus. I don't do that. So I'm writing one book on my own personal experience. The other books, weren't as much about my life and how I learn and grow. So a lot of what we're talking about, what we're talking about now. And then I'm writing a second book on AI and the new advances in AI, but really focused on social consciousness. So not AI in terms of just how do I use this technology? There's plenty of resources out there. I want people to think deeper about how AI will truly affect our society and our lives and our relationships and what we need to do now to make the right decisions so that AI is actually making humanity better, like making our lives better and not actually taking away from us. Because there's a great danger out there right now that AI is so powerful that it will literally take over everything, like all of our jobs, everything we do, and where does that leave us? And we don't want to become addicted to AI or dependent on AI to the point where we start to lose our own creativity, our own unique experiences, because we are human biological beings. And AI is a machine. This is where society is facing the greatest challenge we have ever faced in the history of humankind. Actually, this at this point more serious than the nuclear bomb, like way more serious.
I fully agree.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think definitely looking forward to those great books, and when those books are in market, definitely looking forward to
Frank, you will be one of the first
to
people to know.
read words. Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah. I think that this is definitely a great conversation. I have two major takeaways from the fascinating conversation. Firstly is how to build a great startup or build great innovation in the age of AI. Even though the books you have written are many years ahead, but still the ideas are very, very applicable in everyday life. So I highly recommend people from all over the world, AI founders, entrepreneurs, read the books you have written. You have a big dream the elephants, not personally, but also know what the elephants is going. Currently, the elephants is very clear, is the AI, and build your team, build your simple product, know when to stop, make tough choices, but it's good for the long run. So those innovations are really helpful for all different kinds of founders, outside company, within companies. And the second part is how people learn the AI. This really reinforces the way we do our way of learning. We believe that people should learn more systematically in the age of AI. They can learn in casual ways by listening, in jogging, in working out. But the knowledge itself should be critical, systematic. We had a slogan: a book is a world, a library is a universe. So Aibrary is an AI library. We have a universe, have different books. So those are really, really helpful.
I love to engage. For me, it's all about building a community of people who are getting smart, who support, want to make the world a better place and help each other.
In the next episode of Aibrary Dialogue is a very special episode. I'm sitting with he is a entrepreneur building successful compliance technology startup, successfully closed several rounds of investments. But what's more important, he used to be my schoolmates back in Harvard. We went to Harvard the same year, 2015 to 2017. He was MBA at Harvard. We all learned Clay Christensen's innovation theory. That's why we'll be talking about Clay Christensen's famous work, The Innovator's Dilemma. We'll use Sam's own startup as a case study to help you navigate and learn deeply about how innovation theories can really help you. Either you are a entrepreneur yourself or you are a innovator within a large corporation. How would you be successful in the AI area? And beyond those stories in the career wise, we'll also talk about the famous book, How Well You Measure Your Life. So please stay tuned. Join us for this very, very special reunion after graduation many years from Harvard.